All right, sixth grade ready for test number 2 of the day, your big, huge science test. Okay, you got your multiple choice. A couple things I want to highlight on your multiple choice. Number 1, for number 9, you got a map there, guys. That map is directly out of your book where they have one of the biomes shaded. So use your book map to say what area is about that, and you'll get it labeled for it. On the back side of the second page, you're on your short answers. The first one, number 16, guys, where it says distinguish just means describe. How do you tell the difference? So I would, if I was a sixth grader, write down a definition of a population, write down your definition of community, write down your definition of an ecosystem, and we're done. Number 17 says this: scientists do not agree on the number of biomes. Some identify more than 10 biomes. For example, they might divide deciduous forests into temperate deciduous and tropical deciduous forests. Others identify only 5 biomes: aquatic, which means water, desert, forest, grasslands, and tundra. What advantages and disadvantages do you see in this last classification compared to the ones listed in the book? So your job is give me the good and give me the bad of only doing 5 biomes. So that first the first part of the paragraph, guys, where they talked about 10 biomes, that's meaningless to the question. It's just unneeded information. You're supposed to say what's the advantage of having 5 biomes and what's the disadvantage of having those 5 biomes. So if you look at it, guys, they added aquatic, they added a water one. I want you to think about that big time as far as we didn't have that. Then they had deserts, that was the same one. Then they took forests and put them all together. So we had deciduous forests, we had tropical rainforest. They said, no, we're just going to call it forest. There's trees there. Grassland stayed the same, and then they got rid of taiga and kind of put the taiga and the tundra together. So you see what they did. Your job is to explain the positives and negatives of that. On the bottom, it says the biotic and abiotic parts of an ecosystem interact with one another. Part A, explain how the amount of rainfall in a biome affects the number of organisms it supports. So you're looking for a statement. The more rain, the more organisms, or the less rain, the more organisms? How do they work? Does more rain equal more organisms? Your book talked about that. Part B, it says, explain how human actions such as polluting the air or water and cutting down acres of trees in the rainforest can produce changes of living things. Now, guys, I just need you to think. What does polluting do to the number of living things in an environment? That's all they're asking. So they're trying to make us as humans take responsibility to say, what impact does our polluting and cutting down trees have on our environment? Okay, the last part of your test now, guys, this last thing is really what we're covering. So you got this blank here. Your job, write down the 6 biomes we studied. Under climate, your job is to write one thing about the climate. Climate could be the temperature, climate could be the rainfall, or climate could be a piece of information. Like when we studied the deciduous forest, it said it has 4 seasons. That could be under climate. Under animals or plants, your job is to write down a type of animal or plant in each one of those biomes. And guys, we've covered all these biomes this week, and you got a lot of examples to choose from. Then if you want some extra credit on your test, you write down one other interesting thing. So I just gave you an example for the deciduous forest. If you actually got the temperature or the rainfall, you could take deciduous forest and write down it has 4 seasons. One of those biomes has the permafrost. That would be a piece of extra information that you could give down there for extra credit. Okay, so I just gave you the chart, guys. I didn't give you any directions to it, so that's why I covered it on this test. Make sure you understand what you're doing. It's not huge sentences. It's just one piece of information that you're putting down there, and then if you have another interesting piece of information you want to do, that'll give you the extra credit. Okay. Speaking of extra credit, on the front of your worksheet, you have another cool map here. No, I shouldn't call it a map. You have another cool puzzle your teacher did. And if you write down this phrase, we the people, on the top of your test, I'll give you extra credit. Have a day.